You're listening to the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast with host Kevin Jefferson. This is the number one podcast for African American real estate professionals who are doing extraordinary things. It's time to tune in. And now, your host, the People's Lender, Kevin Jefferson.
Hello, welcome to Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson, and today we have a special guest, two-time author by the name of Jermaine Miller. How you doing, Jermaine?
I'm good, my brother. Great evening to you. Happy to be on the podcast.
That's what's
up.
It's
a pleasure to be here, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks to our mutual friend, Aaron, for connecting us.
Absolutely. Good brother down there.
Yeah, real good brother. So tell us a little bit about who you are, Jermaine.
Yeah, so actually four times author and 4 times best-selling author now. Just released my newest book, The Magic Power of Your Inner Conversations, which is number 1 on Amazon. It's been released for the last 2 weeks. Very, very powerful, dynamic book. But a little bit about my backdrop. I wasn't always in a position like this. I was raised in Staten Island, New York, the forgotten borough here in New York. Everybody knows Staten Island from Wu-Tang, but pretty much Staten Island is pretty much the forgotten borough. And I was raised there with my younger brother in a single parent household. My mother raised me and my younger brother. Fathers weren't around. And she did what was best for us, which was put a roof over our head, clothes on our back, and food on the table. And she went to work all the time, so she was never really home. So we had some influences growing up, and one of my influences growing up was my grandmother. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people on this podcast, or a lot of people that will listen to this podcast, that they want to do something special for people in their lives. I was one of those persons. I wanted to do something special for my grandmother. She was a church secretary. She worked at Union Baptist Church in New York City, making $200 a week. And she lived in Harlem in the 80s. And if you knew Harlem in the 80s, you can go look at New Jack City and all those other movies of those times. Harlem wasn't the best place to be. So I had a dream for her. And my dream was I wanted to purchase her a home, get her out of those streets of Harlem where it was violence, crack epidemic, people jumping out of buildings, fires all over the place. I wanted to do something special for her. So I went to school, got good grades in school, went away to college. And the second year in college, we discovered something, man. What we discovered was my grandmother, who I was so inspired to do great things in life for, she had lung cancer. And cancer in 7 different languages is the most feared word. Someone here says cancer, you immediately think the world is over for you. And so that's what I thought. I dropped out of college, which was one of my early mistakes. Thought I was smart enough. I'd go home, figure it all out, but I wanted to be with my grandmother. And a few short weeks after I got home from all of that, she passed away. And that was a very challenging part of my life. I'm 19 years old, looking at all my dreams and goals that I had for my grandmother at that time. And I just felt like the wind was taken away from me. And I remember waking up on the floor. I was 25 years old. I had 93 cents in my bank account and pennies in my pocket. And I was looking at the ceiling. I was in a basement. And 6 years of my life, I realized something. I realized that I parked. You see, I had all these dreams and goals to be great in life. But when some adversity hit me, as losing my grandmother, I went on the sidelines and I parked. And by the time I woke up with 93 cents in my bank account, 25 years old, every reason to do well, I was failing. You see, I had gone through a divorce. I had children by different women. I spent some time in prison. And I had to ask myself a question. That question was, in 5 years, if I continue doing what I was doing, where will I be? So after I asked myself that question, the answer came. I said, I definitely don't want to be here in 5 years, but I knew in order for me to do something different, or for me to have something different in my life, I had to do something different. So where do I start? I couldn't go back to school, with the surmounting bills and children, and a lot of other things going on. School didn't seem ideal. Starting a business at the time, I didn't have no money, so I couldn't start business. Next thing I thought about doing is becoming a real estate agent in New York. big problem, didn't have the $250 to join the course at the time. So I borrowed money from a friend of mine, $250. And I invested in this real estate course, became a real estate agent, used to sleep in the office, take showers at the local gym nearby. But 10 years in the real estate industry, I sold over 100 million in real estate, completely changed my life. And I realized something. I loved helping people, not just helping people with their lives in terms of purchasing homes, but I wanted to help empower, impact people with their lives, because I've always felt that people can do something greater than where they are right now. And so in 2018, I launched my second company, which is Jermaine Miller Consulting, where we coach, motivate, and train individuals as well as corporations on how to be the greatest version of themselves.
Wow, that's an amazing story, man. You went to Dell State, right?
I did go to Dell State, yes.
Yeah, around what time?
My freshman year was 97,
Okay.
and I left school 99, early 99.
All right, I came in fall of 98. So I was there.
Okay.
I graduated 02. So
Okay.
yeah, we were around at the same time for a couple years together.
Yep.
That's what's up. So man, so you went from having 93 cents in your pocket to borrowing $250 to get into a course to better yourself, right? For real estate. Once you got into real estate, how would you go from 0 to 100 million?
It was philosophy, right? So one of the things that I realized is that when I started listening to personal development, because my first year in the industry, I did extremely well. And I think the reason why I did so well was I was hungry. I was hungry for change. I knew I couldn't live the way I was living. You know, a lot of people want to do better in their lives, but most of the time they would rather stay in a known hell than venture off to a strange heaven. And I got tired of my known hell, and I ventured off to my strange heaven. But what was required of me was, after I got to this place, how do I continue, or how do I maintain getting better? And I realized that rarely does your income exceed your personal development. And what I mean by that is, rarely can you earn more money than what you know. And so I started reading books. One of the early books that I started reading was Live Your Dreams by Les Brown. Les Brown is my spiritual father right now. He wrote the foreword to my first book, Wake Up and Win. And he was very influential in my early years, just by me knowing him from afar, in terms of listening to his recordings and reading his books. But it wasn't until a few years ago that I was able to meet him personally and become his spiritual son. So when I started earning more income in my life, when I started investing in myself from a personal development perspective, Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in America, he said, the best investment you can ever make is not an investment in the stock market, not investment in real estate, but the best investment you can make is the investment in you. And that in you means personal development.
Wow. So how much did you sell in your first year? Like, do you remember?
No, I don't remember. That was almost 16 years ago when I started in the industry. I do remember earning over six figures my first 4 months in the business, in part because I had slept in the office. You know, I was the first person in, last person to leave, not by design, but by default. I just didn't have anywhere to go. And so I stayed in there, and I worked very long hours because I didn't really have anything else to do or nothing else to party for. So because of that, I was able to absorb the industry really fast. I was always the first one to get leads because I was always the first one in the office. And that just helped me become better when it came down to meeting clients and understanding what they need. And I realized the faster I learned how to listen to what the person was communicating, the faster I would be able to do a deal. And that really changed the whole trajectory of my business.
Wow. So during your real estate career, Because obviously, in order to sell, and I don't care where you are, in order to sell $100 million worth of property, that's, everybody doesn't do that.
Right.
Alongside of the mindset and professional development, were there systems that you implemented?
The systems that I implemented, there were certain things that, you just couldn't be taught. That was just something that was already in you. And that system that was already in me was my burning desire to succeed and do well in life. Right. So when we talk about systems, that system of getting up early, going to work when everybody else was sleeping, that's a system that can't be taught. That's a system that's inside of you. Outside of all the other trainings that I got from, companies and organizations that to me really felt like it was surface level training. It didn't really go to the core of who the individual was or who the person was. That's when I really started reaching and investing in seminars, investing in CDs at the time, listening to things that would help educate me and change the dynamic of the way I approached life overall.
Wow. So real estate is and I'm sure you'll agree, real estate is not a physically tiring job, but it mentally drains. If I'm a new agent or a seasoned agent looking to grow my business, what are a few things that you think someone needs to implement to kind of propel their business to that next level?
Yeah, well, I think that's a powerful question. They say that 51% of the agents countrywide earn $49,000 a year or less, right? 51%. That's very, very low. And I think it's somewhere between the lines of like 75% earn $20,000 a year less. So we're talking about a seasoned agent versus a new agent. The average new agent that comes in the industry doesn't last longer than 3 months in the industry. One, because it's a commission-based business. And two, the average individual does not have that money to support their lifestyle for 3 months saved. So if you're talking about a new agent versus a seasoned agent, let's put them on the same playing field. Number one, what are some of the goals and dreams that these people really have? That's a question that you have to constantly be asking yourself. What do you want to accomplish? Not just here at your job in the office, but in your life. What started happening to me early on in the industry and toward the middle part of my career was I started realizing that real estate was a vehicle to help me earn a living. But I wanted to do something more than what I was doing in real estate. So some people can segue out of real estate and start investing in real estate themselves, or they can take this income that they're earning and do another business. What do you really want to accomplish yourself? Or if this is something that you see yourself doing for the rest of your life, how are you designing your business? So the first thing or the first question that I would ask a seasoned agent or a new agent or a person who's been in the industry and just flat out don't know where they're going, what they want to do or what they want to accomplish, the first thing I would ask them is, what do you want? Right? Because we get in life not what we don't get in life what we want. We don't get in life what we don't want because we never decide what it is that we do want. Let me repeat that. We get in life what we don't want because we never decide what it is that we do want. So we have a lot of agents that are aiming at nothing and they're hitting nothing dead on the head, right? So we got to really decide how much money you want to earn and what are you willing to give in exchange for that income that you desire, right? Are you comfortable in the industry earning $30,000 a year when there's people doing the same thing that you're doing, earning $1 million a year? What do you really want? And where do you see yourself being in this industry 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, or 7 years down the line?
Wow. Wow. So in having that mindset, do you think that someone new coming in, and that because this is your lane, you think that they should invest in having a coach right off the gate? How do you think they should help with those goals? Because coming in, that's not necessarily something someone would be thinking, as a new agent. All they're thinking about is what they see on TV, 20 grand per day.
Yeah, so I don't, that's not something that they talk about in real estate school. It's not something that they talk about in your office. It's kind of like going to elementary, junior high school, and college. They don't really talk about the things that happen in the real world. They talk about the stuff that they want you to know to pass these exams. And so it's not until we get into the real world of losing deals, not getting listings, fumbling clients, and not earning money, do we realize that we have to take a look at ourselves? But it's at that point we start looking at our income or looking at our money. You know, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, all these great sports guys. One thing is certain about them, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. But one thing that was certain about them, they had a coach. In order for you to win championships in your life or in the game, you need a coach. You need somebody who has been there, someone who can help you get through the things that you're going through, and someone who can see in you what you may not see in you early on in the beginning. And unfortunately, in the industry, there's not a lot of people that will take you under their wing and show you the ropes. They have their own agenda. So you should have your own agenda too. And that own agenda should be, what can I learn here by giving a service or giving my time to this individual that can in turn help me earn my income until I get to the place on my own where I can do this on my own. So as far as a coach is concerned, absolutely. But also the coach has to have your best interest in mind. If you're going to invest in a coach, make sure that coach is well documented, has the track record of someone who's been successful in any industry and got a few rings themselves.
That's good. That's awesome, man. So in hiring that coach, like where, at what point should they get the coach?
You know, it's hard to say, you know, because you come out of training or, you know, some kind of trainings that these companies give you. I was doing some of my clients are big real estate companies. I won't put their names here on the podcast, but I was coming out of one of them. One of the girls pulled me to the side and she's like, you know, Jermaine, phenomenal training today. Thank you so much. I just feel like this company has so much training and I'm in every training, but I don't know what to do with myself. And it's interesting that she said that to me because that's what happens to a lot of agents. A lot of agents will be so trained up that they don't know what to do after training is over. I'll just take another training. I'll just take another training. I'll just take another training. And what that's doing is it's helping them to continue procrastinating in places where they have to actually implement the training. So we don't never really know when we need a coach until someone actually pulls you to the side and say, hey, listen, what are you getting from all of this? You need one-on-one coaching. Sometimes that never happens to us.
Wow. So it's safe to say that alongside having coaches, you need to join the right team.
You need to join the right team. And I highly encourage any new agent who doesn't have a business, right? Like you just coming into the industry, you just passed your real estate license, you're excited, you're ready to rock and roll. I highly recommend joining the team. And the only reason why I recommend joining a team early on is so that you can learn. That's it. You don't have to stay with this team forever. I have a lot of successful real estate friends that started exactly that way. They started working on a team. They started doing open houses, did open houses for free. Yes, they did. And on Sundays, they got their buyers at those open houses, and the buyers who didn't buy those houses, they wound up closing them elsewhere. And because they closed houses, they had stuff that they could actually market from closing those houses. And they built businesses that way. And you have to understand that real estate is going to take you at least 3 to 5 years for you to start earning consistent money, because it takes 3 to 5 years for you to get a referral from someone who purchased something from you, right? They may want to purchase something again, or they may want to rent, or their lease is up, or it takes that long for you to actually start to get those referrals. In fact, one of my managers, when I first started in real estate, that's exactly what she told me. She said, Jermaine, you're not going to really be consistent earning 5, 6 figures a year, 5 figures a month until you've been in the industry for over 5 years. Once you are in the industry over 5 years, at that time, you have amassed enough people, enough clients that will come in every year as a referral. You would have put enough work in for yourself to get more work, and the deals will start becoming a lot more easier for you. And that's exactly what happened to me.
Wow. So when when you join a team, what are some things you should look for from being on that team? Like what if you could give us like 3 pointers we should look for when we're looking to join?
Yeah, when you're looking to join a team, first of all, you want to know how long the person who is running the team has been in the industry. That's number one. You don't want to jump on a team that was someone who just got in the industry themselves last week, right? So you want to also know how much income this team is producing on a yearly basis, and if you're going to be a part of that income producing team, or if you're going to be somebody who's just going to get coffee, right? Because I need you to do the paperwork and you're not showing any listings. You want to see if there's room for you to grow on that team while you're learning. If it's not room for you to grow on that team while you're learning, that's okay too. But just give yourself an out clause, right? But also the time that you're there, be beneficial to the person whose team you're on, right? Because that person didn't have to put you on the team, and he or she didn't have to give you the opportunity to learn. But learn all you can learn, especially from somebody who's seasoned, who's been in the industry for a very long time and can teach you some things. Now, the unfortunate thing is there's a lot of people who feel like they're so busy, they don't have enough time to work with new agents, and they just want them to figure things out on their own. Those are the people that you really don't want to be around that much if they can't spend time with you. But then there's some people that they're just so busy that they value their time as well and don't want people wasting their time. So you got to know that too as well. So my points would be: find out how long the person has had a team and has been in the industry. Find out if the income that the team brings in a year, you can find your place in there, and find out if there's room enough for you to grow while working on that team.
Wow, those are all key points. So once we found the team and we are on the team, give us a couple pointers of what you think should help us bring value to the team, like you said.
Yeah. So number one, obviously you want to find out, you want to be someone who's, I guess, a forward thinker, someone who's in front of the game, in front of everything that's going on. You want to know, one of the things that I learned early on in real estate in New York City was I absorbed every street, every building, every condo, every development, and I was like a sponge. I'm like a human GPS in New York, right? You can't tell me about anything anywhere in the city that I did not know. I spent a lot of time doing that, and I would encourage people to do that as well. The streets, the places that's on the market. You have to be able to think very fast on your toes, because the industry is funny, because the timing that we're in, even though, we're dealing with a pandemic, scandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it, people are still buying property. And not only people still buying property isn't lasting on a market long enough. So if you're going to be a contributor to a team, you want to know what listings are brand new and what listings can work for the buyers that you guys have on your team right away. You want to be a contributor to the team. So I would definitely know my market well. That's 100% without a doubt, right? Because you can literally take someone from an open house by listening to what they're looking for, and the open house is not even what they're looking for, and close them in something else. So know your market. That's super duper mandatory. Know what's traded and the price point. Also know what the interest rates are for people that are looking for mortgages, right? Just have a small idea of what the mortgage rates are so that you can be well versed in what it is that you're talking about. So know your market, right? Be very equipped for CMAs or whatever else can be on the market. Know the interest rates, what's going on. Learn and know your business like no one else. and that will set you apart from the average person that's working every single day.
Gotcha. So now we're going to shift, right? I'm at that 5-6 year mark, and now I'm starting to get repeat business, but I still haven't really hit my stride the way I thought I would in that 5th and 6th year. What are a few things you think that we could do to get things moving?
I think one of the things is just really what impacts everybody around that 5-year mark is their goals. What do we really, really want? Because our goals have to outweigh the adversity. And we have to understand that one of my favorite quotes by Henry David Thoreau, he once said, if a man advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life that he's imagined, he would meet with success unexpected in common hours. Why is that quote so powerful? Because we will always meet with success, number one, if we have something worthwhile that we're going after. But number two, we'll also meet with success. And when we do, we'll meet it unexpected, but in common hours. Why that portion is so powerful is because we never know exactly the hour or the day when our dream will appear. But that's not what we should be focused on. What we should be focused on is going after the dream, not when it'll actually appear. So when we're talking about the 5-year mark, the 6-year mark, and it's like, man, my dream ain't here, right? And the only reason why your dream isn't here is because you haven't believed in that dream long enough. Sometimes that's what happens to most of us. We'll stop believing that what's possible for others is possible for us. That sets us back. We start looking at, what other people are doing in the industry and why I'm not doing it. That sets us back. Instead of us just really zeroing in and focusing on our dream and goal. There's a Chinese bamboo tree that takes 5 years to grow. And when it grows, the first 90 days, it grows 6 feet out of the ground. Now you can look at the Chinese bamboo tree and say either it took 5 years to grow or it took 90 days to grow. It took 5 years to grow. It took 5 years to grow 6 feet in 90 days. And the reason why is because it was watering itself it was being watered all those years so that it could grow that fast. And that's what has to happen to us. All these years we're in the industry, we have to have one big goal: being number one in the industry, being number one in your town, being number one in the office, and doing this for my family, doing this for myself, doing this so that I can set my family's legacy up. Whatever the why is and why you're doing it, you'll continue watering your bamboo tree.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. I didn't know that about the bamboo tree. I didn't know. So that 5-6 year mark, man, is key because I believe statistics after around after the first 3 months, you've gotten over one hurdle. And I think that next part is like 2 to 3 years, but then that 5 to 6 years, people start dropping off out of the real estate business. What are a few things, if someone's listening to the podcast right now and they're trying to figure out, well, okay, I've got goals. Now, how do I make sure they're the right goals and obtain them? What are a few things, or maybe a book or something that you would suggest they read to kind of help with that mindset?
From a mindset book, I think we have to discover, this is a conversation that you want to have with yourself. If I'm going to talk about a book, I'm going to talk about my own books, right?
That's why I was plugging it, bro.
Right? I've got 4 of them. One of the things you want to do is go grab this book right here, The Magic Power of Your Inner Conversations. What I realize is, our self-talk will either take us to our greatness or keep us in poverty, right? And so I wrote all about that self-talk. And I'm not talking about the talking that we do when we're in front of people. I'm talking about the talking that we do when we're looking ourselves in the mirror. That's super duper powerful. And that's something that everybody needs to know how to handle, because there's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, there's no enemy if there's no enemy within, there can't be no enemy without. So it's very important for us to understand that if we're fighting the enemy within, right, and making sure that enemy within is tamed, we can accomplish anything that we've ever desired in our life, in our worlds.
Wow, that's amazing. We'll definitely put a link in the bio. I mean, the link in the show notes, so people can go to Amazon and grab your book, man. For sure, for sure. I'm gonna grab me a copy as well.
Appreciate that.
So we've got the mindset piece going. In terms of now that 5th year, we've got the mindset shift, and we're looking for a coach. And you've told us what we need to look for in a coach. I'm gonna ask you this because I have a thought process. Is a coach and a mentor the same thing?
No, but they can be. The reason why I say no is because you actually would pay a coach, right? I mean, not saying that you wouldn't pay a mentor, but a coach's job is just to coach you to becoming your greatness, to manifesting your greatness. A mentor is somebody you can look from afar, right? Like Les Brown was my mentor until he became my physical mentor. Someone I looked at from far. Yeah, he's my mentor. Some of these authors that are no longer here living, that's in my library, they're my mentors, right? I'm inspired by their work. I admire what they've done, and they have helped catapult me to me being who I am today. So that's where a mentor is. A mentor can be from afar. Michael Jordan's everybody's mentor, especially in the game of basketball, right?
Right.
Tom Brady's everybody's mentor in football. So they're mentors, but they're people that inspire us from afar. A coach is someone who's in your ear, and that's gonna help you get to that Tom Brady, or get to that, Michael Jordan, or get to that Shakespeare level in your life. That's what a coach does.
Oh, wow. So your consulting firm, tell us a little bit about what your consulting firm does.
So my consulting firm, we coach, we train, whether it's companies, corporations, individual coaching. We work with mindset, but our job really is to help empower people to be the greatest versions of themselves. And we do that by establishing a definiteness of purpose. You see, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. I know people that are 50, 60, 70 years old and don't know what they want to do with their lives. Imagine living your entire life, or the majority of your life, not knowing what you want to do, right? George Bernard Shaw, they asked him when he was on his deathbed, he's a playwright. They asked him while he was on a deathbed if he can live his life over again, what would he do? Now, this guy was accomplished, wrote a whole bunch of plays, books, scholar, earning all kinds of money. He said, I'd be the person I never was, right? That's what he said when they asked him, if I could live my life over again, what would you do? He said, I'd be the person I never was, right? The person I could have been, but I never was. And that's what a lot of people do. They wait till it's too late. They wait till they're 50, they wait till they're 60, they wait till they're 70. And now they wish they had all those years that they fumbled. They wait till they're too late.
They said the richest place in the world is the graveyard.
Yes, that is. And it's the truth. And it's not the richest place in bodies. It's the richest place in minds. So all those minds that can't be used anymore, where that this person had an idea that he didn't act on, or this person had an idea that she didn't put to paper. She just delayed. All of those people, as my mentor Les Brown said, went to the grave with their dream or the music still in them.
Got you. So I'm asking for me. How do you get over that hump with the mindset? Like, it's a lot of people want that success. A lot of people do have the drive, but sometimes it's something that's missing. How do you find that something? You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but you know there's something that's not clicking.
Yeah. So I think everyone has to first and foremost understand that we're all here for a unique individual purpose. My purpose is not the same purpose as yours. And once we start to understand that I have my reason for being here and you have your reason for being here, my job is not to accomplish what you do, and your job is not to accomplish what I do. That sets us apart right away. I'm here for my purpose and you're here for your purpose. Now, the next thing is most people won't actually do the things they love because they fear they won't be able to get paid for it. So when you start thinking like that, you automatically cut out what your purpose is. So my question usually when I do a consultation with someone is I'll ask them, what is it that you would do if you could earn all the money in the world while doing it? That's when you start getting to the bottom line of what people actually want to do and what people actually want to accomplish in their lives when money's no longer on the table. I asked someone the other day, I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, she was telling me how awful her job was. And I said, well, what do you really want to do? And then she, with the same breath, was so fired up with what she really wanted to do. So I asked her, what's stopping you? And she gave me a list of reasons why she wasn't going after her dream. One was it was steady income coming in. The second one was she had a child. The third one was she had a lot of bills. And when you're looking at life that way, I said, so you're going to allow life to dictate what you want to do because of bills. Bills are always going to be there. Your daughter's always going to be there. But if you don't go after your dream and go after your goal, whatever it is right now, you'll never be able to have the life that you really desire and wish for, because right now all you're doing is wishful thinking and thinking that you'll be able to do something without taking some action toward it.
Wow, man, it's definitely, it's it's a lot of people. I mean, I see a lot of talented people who don't get to where they need to be just out of that fear. Um, so if I have a burning desire to do something, in your opinion, does that mean that's what I should be doing? Or
Yeah.
do I go chase, as they say, chase the bag?
Yeah, I think because of society and the way, everything is always in our face, right? Everything is always in our face. We don't actually take the time to discover who we are, what we really want for ourselves, because every day something is being pushed on us or something is being told to us for us to just do. And so we actually never do it. In Rollo May's great book, A Man's Search for Himself, he said the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it's conformity. And the only reason why he said that is because people conform. They don't have the courage to live their dreams. They conform to what people are saying they should do. They conform to what's shown to them and how they should do it, but they don't have the courage to go out there and live on their own. So while we are chasing the bag, what are we really gonna do with this bag that we're chasing? What we also have to understand is as long as we're in pursuit of something, we are repelling it away from us. So it's not until we become a different type of person do we start to magnetize the things that we really want in our life. That's what the law of attraction is all about. Becoming a person of magnetism so that those things start to happen. Why should I go chase something that's already mine? Right? We're talking about this infinite world of ours that we live in, and God's the supplier of this, awesome world we live in. He's given us every possible thing that we can desire as long as we desire it. And here I am running after stuff every day. I don't want to do that. I want to attract those things in my life. So every day I'm not getting up chasing the bag. I'm becoming a person of magnetism. So the bag is being chased to me, but the bag becomes attracted to me when I become a person of value.
Wow.
So as long as I'm down here, low level thinking and doing all these things, I can't become a person of value. You look at all of the successful people in the world. One thing that's certain about successful people is they hit something, and then they hit something, and then they hit something, and then they hit something, and they're always doing something, and it looks like stuff is always being brought to them. Why? Because they became a person of value. So now everybody wants to pay them. Can we get you to come here? Can we get you to do this? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? They became a person of influence. But if you're not doing anything, you can't be a magnet to anything.
Gotcha. So in your real estate career, prior to your consulting, did you have a coach?
Yes, I did. I actually worked with an organization that had coaches. And one of the things that I had a challenge with early on was that the coaches that they were giving us wasn't in New York. They had like coaches in California and coaches in Texas and coaches in Atlanta. And those practices, while they're great in rural areas, it's a lot different in New York City. So there was like a little bit of a communication barrier with those coaches. But I did invest in the coaching programs, and I learned a lot of different strategies and principles that I could use. But as far as New York City was concerned, which is I think a different animal when it comes down to real estate than any place in the world, I had to figure things out on my own here after I worked with the coach for about 12 months.
Wow. Yeah, New York is different, man. It's a different place.
Absolutely.
Different place. So in your consulting business, at what level would you take someone on as a client?
Well, I don't want to say I take anyone on. I'm looking for people who are hungry and want to make a difference in the world while they're here, whether it's in whatever industry they're in. I'm not a marriage coach, but I work with relationships. I have clients that are married that I work with individually together. I have people in network marketing. I have clients in the auto industry, life insurance industry, all types of industries that people work in that I work with. So I don't want to say that I take anyone. I'm looking for the people who want to wake up every morning and live their dreams.
Wow. That's awesome, man. So this is a different podcast than I've had. Because we've talked about different aspects of different portions of real estate, but I wanted to make sure we touched on mindset because our business is so mental in terms of what we go through. Where, we take on a lot from our clients. We're their therapists. You know what I mean?
That's true.
We're their therapists because we listen to a lot of things. A lot of times we get things out of them that most people don't because they're making the largest purchase ever. And sometimes we get the backstory of why they're thinking the way they do, whether it's they're thinking small or they're thinking grand. We get the backstory, and then we're there to encourage them to say, hey, listen, yes, you make $35,000 a year, but you can purchase a home, and when I talk to clients, typically one of the questions they ask is, well, I don't make a lot of money, can I qualify? And I tell them, I said, I've helped people who make $25,000 a year buy a house. And then there's people who made 125 that couldn't afford a house just because of their debt.
Right.
So it's not necessarily how much you make, it's how much you keep and how much of a good steward you are with your funds that you do make. And, some people, don't understand that. I have, it is a mindset shift. I had a lady that I spoke to. She called me. She had a bunch of questions. she was texting me. She got it from my number from a realtor. She was texting me, and in fact, she was asking me different questions. I said, let's jump on the phone. And in her mind, she was unsure if she could purchase. Man, I pulled the lady credit. She could buy $300,000 house. She said she never knew she could. She made good money. She didn't have a lot of debt. It was just that mindset because nobody in her family had purchased the house. So she hadn't seen it. She just heard people talking about it. And then she's like, well, I'm going to try, but I don't know if I can. She was one of the easiest people to get pre-approved. She got her own money. Like, she's the perfect client. You know what I mean? But it was just some type of mindset shift that she needed. And I talked to her for probably an hour or so, Jermaine, just to listen to her thoughts, and then just be there to encourage her and say, hey, okay, first step, let's go ahead and do the application. That allows for me to pull credit. And by pulling credit, I can tell you if we need to work on some things or if we can move forward to the next phase. So we got past that phase. Then you run into, I asked her for her documents so we can see the pre-approver. When she got pre-approved, she was ecstatic. She had one thing to do, right? And she didn't do it. And I reached out to her. Well, I didn't hear from her. And I reached out to her it was earlier this week. And she said, Kevin, I hadn't done it. And then I said, listen, do you want to purchase a home? And she said, yes. I said, you're one item away from being able to be a homeowner. And she said, hey, thank you for calling because that's the push I needed to do it. She paid the bill, texted me, showed me a copy of the receipt, and now she's out looking for properties this weekend, man. So we take on those great things, but then I've got a ton of stories where people just gave it to you because they couldn't afford it. And it's not because we don't want to approve them or that you don't want to show them a house. They can't buy.
Right.
And then that is where we help them with their mindset of, okay, I always tell people, I never tell them no. I said, you're not denied. There's just a slight delay. And this is what we need to do. And sometimes, man, that is mentally draining because I'm fighting with my good energy. And like you said, that lady was telling you, she's throwing back her bad energy. And if I hadn't had the experience that I had, I probably would just be like, well, forget it. But I try to encourage people that you can do it. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You can take your time 6 months from now and you can be in a house, just helping them switch their mindset. And sometimes, man, I'm just mentally drained afterwards. And that's where it comes in for me, like meditation, professional development, exercise, just doing things to help prepare ourselves mentally. That's dealing with clients, but then there's still that same mental aspect of doing it because as a business owner, which you are as a real estate professional, and that's what people forget, you are a legitimate business owner. You need to have the mindset because you have to be strong for your clients as well as to operate your business the way that it should. So like in this conversation that we're having, man, I gained a lot of information from you that some I knew, but some it's just, it takes that, I need to get back to doing that because like I said, this is a mental game, man. We don't physically work hard, but in terms of mentality, man, sometimes it's draining to us. And someone like yourself, as a coach and a consultant can help people get to that next stage a little bit faster because you've been through it and you're coaching them. So you're not their friend, you're their coach.
Right.
And,
exactly.
So to me, that's the difference sometimes between a coach and a mentor. Sometimes a mentor may be your buddy and they're going to help you, but your coach has one specific job, and that's for you to win championships, like you said.
That's right. That's the truth.
Yep,
that's
sure,
the absolute truth.
Yep, man. This has been great, brother. For anyone who wants to reach out to you, can you give them your contact information and how to reach you on social media?
Yeah, all my social medias are the same: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. They're all the same. Jermaine Miller, JermainMiller. For my books, they're all on Amazon. I have an author's page, Jermaine Miller. As far as contacting me, right now we're literally in the process of doing my website over. So my website is on lock, but jermainemiller.com. You can go there. We have a publishing company too. So if anybody's looking to publish their books, get their books published, or they've had some challenges, thought about writing a book, you can go to jmpublishingllc.com. We have a website there too as well. And you can also email me at Jermain at jermainemiller.com for any questions, concerns, or things like that.
Awesome, man. Hey, brother, I appreciate you giving us your time and your insight.
I appreciate you as well, man. Yeah, of course.
This time that we had together, I'm sure there's much more in your book that we need to get. So I'll definitely be reading your book. And make sure you send me the link so I can put it in the notes and we can get some more sales for you, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Thank you. If you think this episode was very helpful to you and you know someone who needs help with their mindset or potentially a coach or consultant, please share this, like it, and comment. And please reach out to Mr. Jermaine Miller if you have any questions about his consulting business or his publishing business. This is Kevin Jefferson with the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. Have a great night. If you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson. Have a great day.